Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Bria, and this is Rise with Bria. We are here to talk about all things emotional health and wellness. I want to start a new series, and this series is going to be about self confidence. Not self confidence, but soft confidence. I want to talk about how it's okay if people don't understand. So, this is something that can really hold you back, especially if you are a people pleaser, especially if you are a perfectionist person, and it's not only an external bar of perfection that you put up for yourself, but it is an external thing as well. With it being external, this could also be reinforced by someone in your life. Like, if you have parents who are very, they have high expectations of you, which is great. They want you to succeed, they want you to be the best, and they have probably set you up to be the best, which you should be definitely grateful to have people who hold you at such a high esteem. But at the same time, you have to work internally first on understanding or not understanding yourself so that you can accept that other people might not understand. So if you accept something about yourself, like let's say you're inside of a goal of wanting to graduate from school, but you are in your third year and your family has gone through something very traumatic, and everyone is dealing with grief or whatever it may be in their own way, and you are still expected to finish school and finish strong, stay on your path, which is great and honorable. But you feel like you're in a place where you just need to take a step back for yourself and take time for yourself, but you don't feel like you can convey that to like your parents or even your friends if they're on a certain track, and you kind of have to internalize this. I think this is a great way to practice. Unfortunately, we do have to practice these things in hard times. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you're alone, it is good to spend some time with yourself, maybe talk to a therapist, maybe journal, and figure out how you actually feel at that point. And by the time you get to a point to make a decision, it's not so much about whether other people would care. It's more so about whether you understand where you are. Other people's opinions don't really matter because you know what's best for you. I mean, honestly, only you know what's best for you. We just want to be better about being more rooted in ourselves and building that confidence so that we don't have to be questioning every decision that we've made, or how did I end up here. It's a daily practice. Like, we talk about the bigger decisions and aspects of confidence, but you do have to also apply these things to everyday small things, like what hobbies you want to do every day. Like, do you want to do, like, when you were young, did you love to read? As you've gotten older, you have friends who love to like knit, and you never wanted to knit, and actually you hate the idea of it. You're going to do it because other people are doing it, and you're going to be upset and afraid that they might not understand that you don't like to knit and you joined in. Like, it's just, there's a lot of little things, like domino effects of things. Deciding not to drink anymore, but you're in a friend group who goes out and drinks all the time, and there's just things that you do decide about yourself and a path that you want to take with your future, and you have to decide to not care what other people think. The next thing I want to talk about is being quiet and powerful. I think this is actually what drew me to this topic in general, soft confidence, because I think that the best way to hone in, your own power is to speak when it is something powerful that you want to say. You notice that I love to watch people like James Baldwin or like Toni Morrison speak, because they're not yelling. They are speaking so precise and eloquently about things that are so complex with such confidence. And I think there is power in that. I think there is power in one, having knowledge behind something, and two, being able to sit down, have a conversation, or be even in a debate or something like that, and be able to speak calmly and speak concisely, and not overspeak over someone. Like, there is definitely power in keeping your calm. Another example, this is totally different from James Baldwin and Toni Morrison, but if you watch Traders, on the most recent season, season 4, I think, of US, Rob Roush, where he is quiet, but he holds so much power in the game the entire time. And it was the same with the best, trader and the 4 seasons, Suri. And she is that way also in Survivor too, where she's like quiet, but like she holds such a power. And if you're watching this new season 50, not to be, digressing, but if you're watching season 50 of Survivor, Suri, I have to give it up to her every single time. If you know, no spoilers. But all right, so quiet power, soft confidence. I feel like those things, like, they're just so appealing to me because, as someone who is an introvert, as someone who is like, I'm a studious person. I studied history in college. I was in journalism in high school. Like, I've never been like the loudest person in the room or the most outspoken person in the room. Like, don't get me wrong, I know how to have a good time, but like, I'm not, in people's faces. But I do feel like I have always held like a quiet power and just sureness about myself. People recognize that in you, and I feel like it is something that people pay attention to. So you don't have to have that fear of being ignored. If you are talking about the important things, and not just running your mouth all the time, then people will listen. People pay attention when they need to and when you need them to. So and if they don't, like, it's good to be rooted in yourself anyway. That is the power in that. We do have to talk about the feelings that come with being wrong. Okay, so I know, like, a lot of people in academia, or people who just pride themselves in knowing things and researching, and I feel like that is an art form in itself to, be able to cite things vocally. I'm always impressed with that. And I love when people do that because I just love facts and fun facts, but like facts that apply to a conversation that you're randomly, I'm like, whoa. Okay. I love that. I love when people just can do that. You can't always do, like, you're not going to always know everything though. Like, there are moments that you're going to have where you're like, I know this. And you can be so confident in that, right? But there's not, like, that doesn't have to be the only way you can have confidence when you're talking about things that you know or that you might know. You don't always have to be 100% sure about things. One thing that has like helped me a lot, especially when just like speaking about, like, whether it's like philosophy or something like that, and you're like, this person said this, and someone's like, no, they didn't. And I think that you have to be open to the fact that you don't know everything. If you don't know it 100%, I think you have to, I mean, that's fine. I love saying like, I'm not sure, but I think this is this. And it's kind of a fun game too, because you're not spreading something that's wrong. You're just saying, hey, I don't know, but this is what it could be, or this is what I think it is. And then if you look it up, you're either right or you're wrong. And I don't feel like there's any shame in being wrong. I feel like it's like, oh, okay, I learned something today. It's not something that is shameful or something that should stop you from speaking your mind or even your opinion about something. Should you always be talking when you don't know what you're talking about? No, that's where the quiet and powerful comes from, where if you're not sure, like, don't just be saying things just to be a person in the room who is talking. Like, then you'll just be another person in the room talking. But um if you do have an opinion that you feel like is important, it is okay to share that, even if you might be wrong. And I feel like that can be expressed, that you don't fully know something when you are expressing your opinion. And I feel like people need to be a little bit more open to that, because we are definitely in the knowledge at your fingertips, and everyone feels like they have to know everything all the time. And I just feel like, yeah, everything is easily Googleable, but also people hold knowledge in their brains. Like, people retain information. So, you know, um, you can bet on yourself if you feel like you know what you're talking about, but also admit, like, I'm not sure, and you'll have to look it up for yourself, but I'm pretty sure this is this. I feel like there is a confidence in that. There is, you know, there's a confidence in that. I mean, there's nothing else to say. Like, I just feel like when I just said that, I felt really good about it, and I love to say that. That's like my favorite thing. And then I love when I'm right also. But when I'm wrong, I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not salty about it. It's just like, oh, I really thought I might have known that, but you know what? Now I do. Now I do. Yeah, so let's talk about habits. There are some really good habits that we can start building around quiet strength and soft confidence. First habit, which I just did, is taking a deep breath before you speak and not rushing into what you're talking about. Because I feel like, once our thoughts get away from us, I feel like that's why we end up, going to our default of, like, maybe raising our voice or talking too fast or over explaining. When we are level set and our mind is clear and we're focused on the conversation at hand, then we can speak more clearly and we can speak more directly. And there is definitely a confidence that is conveyed in that. And I think it's very important to talk about, like, how to have a conversation. Talk about, listening, how to listen, and then taking a deep breath before you respond, so you can kind of, like, have some time to, like, think about it a little bit. Like, that's the thing. We rush ourselves to think so much that we don't allow ourselves to process what we're about to say before we say it. So, taking your time to respond, taking your time to speak or present an idea is very, very important in conversation, and when you're trying to instill confidence in yourself. And that is something that we can practice for sure every single day. Every conversation is something to be mindful of. And we just want to be practicing mindfulness to support our emotional health, like, always, always. Another thing is something that I definitely do in a work setting specifically. Personal, not so much anymore, because but this thing, let me just say it, it's apologizing too much and fitting apologies into your explanations. When you say no, or when you say, maybe, when it's not a yes, that's when we start to feel like, okay, I need to get them to understand. I need them to know why. Or then you stress out about, if someone wants to make plans and you say, yeah, I don't feel like it. But you say that in your head and you don't say it to them, but you tell them like another excuse or whatever. You feel like you have to come up with a whole excuse of like why you're saying no and, why you have a headache. And that's where the deep breaths come in. Take a moment, take a step back. You don't have to respond so quickly. You don't have to give an answer so quickly. You don't have to say yes or no so quickly. You can take your time to, or just say, let me think about it. And then when you have a decision that you've made, it is either a yes or a no. And I know that's hard for a lot of us. It's hard for a lot of us to accept sometimes because you want to know why. But at the same time, it is definitely setting boundaries and saying, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm sorry. Literally, the point that we're on is stop apologizing. And I just did it. Okay. I'm not going to be able to do that. Maybe next time. I feel like that's a good solution to apologizing, because if you're sorry, then you're sorry. But if you're not sorry because you're taking care of yourself or you have a valid reason that you know about, then, let's plan for some other time. Let's do it another time when I'm able to, It's literally that simple. And in work, I know that it can be hard because like if you do something wrong or mess something up, something might come back to you. These are the moments where I apologize, where I feel like, everybody makes mistakes. So there's other ways that you can phrase the actionable things. We want to do actionable things and not put so much emotion into it. And emotion, not just emotion, but emotion that deflates your confidence in yourself and maybe other people's confidence in you. So you definitely want to be more confident when you are telling someone something or giving someone a decision, or you just don't want to pump things with apologies just because. And that is really like a people pleaser, an ego thing, or you want to boost someone else's ego or just make yourself look better sometimes. So let's just be mindful of that when we are apologizing. We just have to ask ourselves, like, what am I apologizing? Am I actually sorry? Or do you just want to give an actionable response of, no, I can't, but maybe next time, or yeah, I'll go back and fix that, and next time I will look into it with more detail. So those are just some ways that we can, improve our confidence in ourselves through, less apologies. Last thing I want to touch on is keeping small promises to yourself. So whether it is you want to learn a new skill, or you want to try out a new hobby, or you want to go to a dance class, or you want to make up your bed every day, you want to have a clean room every day. Let's just keep those promises to ourselves and put action behind your thoughts. Like, let's not just think and overthink and overthink and overthink. Like, let's think with some action behind it, or a plan of action behind it. And I think that might make you feel a little bit more confident in your ability to execute those things, and not just, think about something and say, oh, like, I'll probably never do it. Like, that is something that is definitely damaging to yourself and your confidence, but also damaging to your confidence in other people. Because when you start to break promises with yourself, then you have trust issues with yourself. That's where it stems from. Like, you break your own promises, so why would you trust someone else to keep a promise with you? It's very, very damaging when we instill those things or reinforce those things in ourselves. Like, it's one thing for other people to do it to us. Those are external factors and you can't control that, and you shouldn't internalize that, but we end up internalizing it whether we like it or not. You just have to be aware that you are also reinforcing those things and those behaviors in yourself and to yourself. So, like, we want to fix not keeping promises to ourselves. Like, we have to keep our promises, or else what's the point of, making those promises? Or what's the point of, thinking about something over and over and over again, but you're not doing anything about it? Like, just imagine someone telling you, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And they say the same thing over and over and over again, and they just never do it. That's what you're doing with yourself. That's what you're doing. So we got to fix that. So we have to challenge ourselves. And this is the hard part of this conversation, because it is like stepping outside of your comfort zone. If you are comfortable in, over talking, over expressing, if you're comfortable and, getting excited about something, raising your voice, or, just stepping into like trying to be seen so much, like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But there's also downsides to it. And you have to question, like, what does that say about how I feel about myself when I'm trying to overexert myself for other people? So we have to challenge ourselves and the way that we express confidence. This helps to rewrite our thought processes, and it also challenges our existing belief systems and how we, want to be perceived and how we want people to accept us. Like, I think that some of us use like an external and a hard confidence as an armor sometimes to protect ourselves and to exert ourselves, so that people know, like, can't mess with me. I'm confident, It's almost like but we have to, remind ourselves, like, no, like, I don't need to overextend myself in that way anymore, because I know that I'm confident in myself. I know that I know what I'm talking about, or I know that I don't know what I'm talking about, and that's okay. There's a lot of validation that we have to give ourselves, so that we're not looking for it in other people. And once you have that solid foundation and that safe space, you're able to create boundaries. You're able to create external safe spaces for yourself with people who respect your boundaries. It is another way of protecting yourself too. Just having that confidence in yourself and just feeling good about yourself. There's no need to brag or boast or be loud, because it's already going to be apparent inside of you and it will be flowing out of you. So you don't even have to worry about that. Isn't that nice? You don't have to worry about that. So yeah, so that'll end our chat for today. It was a long one, but it was very necessary. And I think that I talked about things that, I kind of learned a little bit when I was researching, and I was like, I might have to start doing this. And so will you. So, thank you for coming on this journey with me. We're going to have another conversation around self-confidence in the next episode. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.